start the finance committee meeting February 12th at 6 o'clock. In attendance, we have Beth Coons, Doug Downey, myself, Jody, Carla, the mayor, Joe, and Elaine. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? If they have, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
A motion to approve by Doug Downey, seconded by Elaine Brockmeyer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The bills are listed in your packet. Do we have questions on those?
Make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
I make a motion by Doug Downey to approve the bills as presented, seconded by
Don't fight over it.
Joe. So, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Public comment, I don't have any. Does the public have any comment they would like to make? Okay, now we're gonna go to old business, and under that, we have budget review, and last week I sent home a sheet of paper that looked like this for you. And, hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at it. I don't know how we wanna do this. Do we wanna go, did you have a chance to look at it, Beth?
I have not, and I apologize,
Okay.
but I have not.
How do you wanna do it? Do you wanna go line by line, or do you wanna go? I've had a discussion, Joe has looked at it with me, Doug has looked at it with me. Okay, the first page, does everybody have theirs
Do you wanna
out?
just go to the change, some of the suggestions
Yes,
we have made
yes.
so far or recommended?
Yes.
You wanna do that? That way?
Yes, and, so you're gonna start, it'll say 01000480 is the front page, okay? All of that, unless you have a question on what it actually is, it's just the revenue that we get in. So we didn't obviously change any of that. So go to the next page. And if we start with, 111,421. Is that what, it's about the third one down, are you on the right page? I'm just trying to make sure we're all on the right page. It was suggested, do you want me to go down what we suggested?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, if you go 11,421.1, which is the, budget officer, we've got to drop that down to 15,000. It was budgeted, the last line is what it was budgeted last year, the 16,500. Then another one, if you go down to,
Sarah, I have a question on that.
yeah,
Does the budget officer's salary show up in another line item somewhere with another, it's not in public works or anything anymore?
I don't think so.
No, I think that's incorrect. I think part of her salary is broke out.
Oh, maybe it is,
Yeah.
okay.
It is.
Is it? Well, her year-to-date, here, if you go to year-to-date over here, under, I'm questioning, we put that down to 15,000, is that what
Yeah,
you had?
that's what I had.
But year-to-date, 42101, year-to-date, she's used, $8,277, so I think we're still okay. This report was ran in December. This report in your packet was ran this month. So I have updated on what we've used is what I'm trying to do
Right.
here. Okay, then if you go to, 0111,451.2, which is the retiree insurance, they dropped that down to, 100,000. It was 100,980. Then we also have a couple lines that we're maybe gonna have her take out, which is HRA expenses, which haven't been used, employee taxes, which haven't been used. They're, number 0111,457 and 460. We're gonna suggest she removes those out of here. Okay, now the next one we're looking at is the police pension. And in your packet, or I put on your desk an explanation of why. First of all, we have the police pension, what they sent the police department on, how it's broken out. Then I have the note from Claudia indicating why the percentage is so much higher than the actuary expect us to pay. Last year, we paid an additional $40,000 over what we levied. This year, it's suggested that we pay $101,000 above our levy, but we don't think that's possible. So we had put the figure down 80,000. Now, whether that's, that's just, I don't know. That's what we put down. Then right under that is the clothing allowance, which won't be there anymore because Julie doesn't get a clothing allowance. If you go to IT services, which is 111,531.1, we put that down to 1,000. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The one right under legal services, we put that down to 25,000 over 30, because we'd only used 17, let me see what we used over here. We've used 20,000 as of this month. So instead of going all another 10,000, we put it, if people don't like this, speak up, okay?
Sarah, can we go back to the
Yeah,
IT services?
yeah,
I'm assuming that's salary for our IT monthly.
no,
No,
well,
is
we've
that
only
something
used
different?
$400.
I don't have that, okay.
I think that's when we call them in, oh, I don't know.
Okay, I don't have that in front of me, so I don't know.
Well, 531. I don't know, maybe it is. I don't think it is though.
It's pretty even, it's all even, cause he gets what?
Where's
200 a
chief's
month?
salary come out
1,200.
of? You're talking about chief's salary, and that was just raised to 200, wasn't it?
Correct. Yeah, so it'll be 2,400.
It is
Right.
what it is, cause it's all even.
But I thought this was when we called in,
For repair and,
for repair and
I think
stuff.
so.
Where else is
Cause
chief's
the
salary
police
shown
would
then?
be on his
Well,
budget.
But it
On
could
the-
be broken up to different departments.
Okay, so
yeah,
we
I'd
need
have to check that, I
All right.
don't know.
let's check that, all right? Okay. And then the next one is postage, we're not using much postage, we dropped that down to 500. Cause we've only used 294 as of to date. Do you know what postage that is?
Yes,
It's not the water though, is it?
No, it's,
But sometimes they'll just grab out of petty cash, and I'll tell Julie to stop doing that, they don't need to, they need to write check. Postage.
Well, but we still, if we have 500, and we still have,
Yeah, but they could, yeah, well, no, that probably, now that I think about that, that probably is true, we don't send that much. We don't send that.
All right.
Bills is about all we do, but still, we need to write checks.
alright,
So what are you putting that at?
It out of petty cash, postage.
But what are you taking it down to, Sarah?
500,
Okay. Can I ask you to go back
yeah.
to the, legal services?
Yeah, that is, where is it at?
533.
We're thinking that's Dan
Yeah.
O'Brien, and.
Does that include these lawsuits that are out there?
That's under litigation. I think that's just what we paid him.
So what have you put then under litigation?
I haven't put anything, cause they only have $100 on there, we didn't
Right.
change it. So I don't know where they're taking all the litigation out of, cause they're not taking it out of that line,
Well, at one point,
cause they haven't taken anything out.
we had asked, didn't we, talked about putting just $10,000 in there for budget, but then Claudia didn't wanna do it because that's our deductible.
Right.
And we had talked about, didn't we talk about putting that in under the budget?
It was talked about one time, yes.
But I don't think Claudia wanted to do
But
it.
see, this line, we haven't paid anything out of it this year.
I think it's something that we need to ask Claudia about. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, that's,
But she just has $100 in there.
we talked about putting it in a couple of years ago, just $10,000, because that's what it
Have we not paid any litigation, that's why this would be zero? Okay.
I'm
We
aware
have,
of.
I don't think so.
Okay, so I can ask Claudia about the litigation.
Okay.
Alright,
Okay.
hold on. Alright, so then, the postage, the printing and publishing, we're using more money, so we upped that to 7,000. Cause we're already at 5,068. And so we upped it $2,000.
What does that cover?
The printing and publishing.
And the paper notices and.
I think
and
it's all
legal.
the advertising we need to
And
do for
advertising.
different things, and when there's a notice for something.
Huh, okay.
And then travel and training, I put up to 6,000, it's for, travel and training. This year we used $5,909.60 so far, but it's, Julie, elected officials, and you two, right, come out of that travel and training? Yes, okay. So we upped that from 2,000 to 6,000. People good with that?
Mhm.
All right, then we're going to the next page, it starts with 0111-567, and everything was okay except utilities, we raised to $100,000 from 95,000, because we're just thinking that they're gonna go up. And maybe we should raise it more, I'm not sure. And this disposal thing, I think there was a mistake there, because if I go to 011, if I go to the disposal thing on, that sheet that's in your packet, it shows I think there was some things put in there incorrectly, cause it shows $7,445 on the updated amount, and it showed, 3,125, so somebody must have changed things. So,
Between December and now, correct?
right.
Yeah.
But I don't think we need to put it up, I think we can leave it at 2,000. No, yes, I think we can leave it at 2,000. Okay, and then the next line down, economic development, we dropped down, because we've only used $7,400. We either need to drop it down to $30,000 or $20,000, I don't know what people wanna do on that. We're not even close.
What do we expect to come out of there for next year? What's planned?
Well, some of the training comes out of there on, when we go to, because of the economic development part of it. But that's all I read, and then I know they had some brochures that came out of it, because they were, isn't that right?
Yeah, and the website's gonna come out.
It's just kinda, and the website, and how much is that? Do you know?
1,300 a year.
1,300 a year?
What do you expect it to be then for the year? Is 20 gonna be enough, 25?
I think 20's gonna be enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember questioning this last year, and I think Claudia said that she was taking, some of Dan Shearing's, fees out of this fund, economic development.
For the TIF?
Uh-huh.
Are we done paying him?
Oh, we'll never be done paying him for the TIF, that's an ongoing, every time there's a bill that comes in, he sends out his.
Yeah, but it's not the big fees on setting it up, and, it's more
We're
like.
past that.
Oh,
yes.
yeah,
It's more maintenance.
but yeah, right, so what's he been turning in?
Well,
for
we've
that?
used up to date for economic development, $9,400.
I think 20,000 would be plenty.
I think it would be too. Is that all right with you guys?
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
so we're gonna do that.
Really lowering it.
Animal control, we dropped down to 1,000. Let me see what we have here.
1,200.
We have 1,200. Oh, we do. Do we only pay those a little bit at a time, I wonder?
It's as
Yeah.
needed.
So maybe we should do, leave it at 2,000? Or 1,500?
1,500.
1,500.
Yeah.
And then office supplies, I think they're rather high, but we upped that to 6,000.
A lot of staples.
Well,
Look,
we've used 578. We've actually used
6,000,
6,800.
yeah, 6,800.
What are we buying out of that? So we're gonna have to go higher on
Are you
that.
guys giving that stuff away?
No, I'm
They're
not
both prices?
complaining, I just don't
Yeah.
understand.
Well, and I
It's
don't know,
new.
when I was talking earlier about what were we under printing, I don't know, like, you know, it costs a lot to get all of our envelopes
Envelope,
printed,
yeah.
because we have our return address in Carlinville and letterhead and all that stuff. I don't know whether that's going under that printing category or under office supplies, I don't know where
Did,
that's.
did Julie's furniture come out of that this year?
Yes,
Okay,
probably
that's
did,
probably why
and we
it's so
just,
high.
and a new printer that we just got for Julie, I'm sure that probably is on there as well, unless we have, yeah.
So do you wanna just
Leave
raise
it.
it to 6,000
Yeah.
and leave it? Well, surely you won't have those costs.
I would say that number last year would be enough, unless we plan on buying more furniture, so, cause that was probably, I'm sure that was at least $1,000, I'm sure, for her, because she was hired new, and then to get her desk and everything.
Alright, so leave it at 5,000.
Leave it 5.
Yeah, then this computer, this hardware computer, which is 651.3. At one year, we replaced our hard drives or something, and it's got a $10,000 deal, but we're not planning on doing anything like that. I was talking to Claudia about that, and we haven't used any of that line, so I don't know if we wanna drop that,
Drop it to 1,000.
yeah, don't you think?
Mm.
And they'll just have to plan ahead if they want something like that. Okay, then the next thing we changed was the mayor's phone expense. From 1,200, we dropped it to 1,000.
Also, the one right above that, contingency, we dropped that one, we talked about dropping that one
The
too.
what?
The 20,000?
Contingency, right there.
Yeah,
It's on here.
It's 919.
Oh, yeah. To 10,000?
No, I had 2,000 is what I had from our discussion.
That's fine with me. Is that fine with people?
The only time that line's used is if you go over your, all your other lines, so. It's just, most of the time it's a fictitious number, that's why there's zeros in it.
And then we dropped the mayor's phone expense to 1,000 and the miscellaneous expense to 1,000, just because we hadn't used very much. And I'm not even sure what the miscellaneous expense is. I thought I asked her. And then, that's levy, so we don't have to go. So we're going to the next page. We start with 0111-999.7. The only thing on the zoning salary, we dropped down to 17,000, cause he kinda dropped back his hours, remember last year? That's for the zoning, but he said to just leave everything, I had a discussion with him. We took down his postage to 0, because he doesn't have his own postage. He uses you guys, I think. So, if you go to 116,551, it's 0, rather than it's only $100 different. And that's all we really talked about on that page. Cause it's mainly zoning. And his expenses were pretty right on, I think. They're pretty easy to figure out. Okay, so then the next page is the police. We don't really need to do that. And then the next page over there, the top part of SEMA, and they will have their own. You will present that one. I'm assuming so. Yeah, I'm assuming that we'll talk about that at public safety. Is everybody still following me?
Mhm.
Okay, so we're down to 124,385, which is public land cemetery lots. It's like halfway down the page. And what we thought to change was the 124,511, which is maintenance of buildings. It was at 25,000 to drop it back to 15,000, cause we'd only used 2,759. What did you look on the recent one? Hold on.
Joe, is that supposed to include the concrete floor for the
No, that's,
maintenance shed?
no.
That doesn't
No,
come out of
that's,
here?
that's public works.
Okay.
And we've only used to date, or to when the other report was 3,227. So we dropped it down to 15 from 25. Is that all right with people? And then right under that, the maintenance equipment, we've used 14,000 as of date. What did we buy? We must
Probably
have
bought
bought
a
some.
new lawnmower, I think.
Well, but this is since December.
Oh, in 1 month you spent that?
No, there was 6,500 last month for some
On
sort
this
of
report,
mower equipment in
okay,
Smith.
all right, so I guess we can't drop that, no, we raised it, which is what we wanted to do, to 10,000. But we're at 14,000. Are you seeing what I'm talking about?
Are you still on 512?
Maintenance, yes.
Yeah. And what do you wanna make that, 14?
No, we've spent 14, if you look at this sheet.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I'm wondering if, I still think we should keep it at 10. What do people think? I don't know.
Well, I'd like to find out what's in there because let's put a question mark by that and talk to Julie and see what's actually, what's been posted to that account.
There was something last month from Smith for like 6,500 or 6,800, if I remember. Anybody remember? Smith equipment?
Well, because we were in December at 66 and now we're at
Mhm.
14,459. So
Let's
I
find
bet
out what
that-
was put in
yes.
there. And
All
then-
right, we'll find out.
What number is that, Sarah?
512,
Got it.
124, 512.
Got it.
Okay, and then we dropped the surveying down to 500. Since that surveying was for, if they had to survey out of Carlinville Lake for the marijuana grow house. It was kind of a one-time thing, I think, don't you think? Yeah, so we dropped that down to 500. And then, cleaning mats, let me see, what are those year to date? Hold on, let me look. $7,000, yeah, we dropped that down to 8,500. The 654. And the right under that, we dropped from 2,500 to 1,500. The fuel,
What did you drop it to?
1,500. None of this is an exact science.
No, it is an exact science. We've researched, analyzed, and
Well, I have a lot,
Calculated and-
but you're still, I feel like we're a little bit, okay, now the train station. I did get, okay, for the, public lands equipment,
Where is she? Oh, I found it, I found it.
831.
Got it.
we dropped that down to 5,000 because we'd only used 1,700. And right now we've only used 2,100. So we dropped that to 5,000 from 10. And the services rendered, and I can't even remember what, oh, that's our, is that our summer help? No.
No,
What is services rendered? We upped it to 10,000 because we'd used 8,300.
can we also see what's been put in that one? Ask Julie.
What is it?
I don't know.
We're gonna find out.
Good.
That wasn't,
It's public
Lands.
lands, services rendered. Okay, and then I do have for the, security, for 125,572, I budgeted $2,700, that's for the internet for the train station. Now, I haven't got the utility bills yet because nobody seems to be able to, we haven't gotten any. So I don't know how we wanna estimate what we think. Once I get a utility bill, I'll multiply it by 12 and put that number in there. unless you just wanna, I mean, I don't even know how
Did
to
they
do
go back
this.
to the police department? Because I'm just wondering if New Wave went back.
No, we
to-
had the New Wave bill, we don't
Got the
have
New
the
Wave
Ameren bill.
Ameren, okay, got it.
After they took away temporary service, we haven't got this one yet.
Okay.
And then the last ones are Tree City, the TC miscellaneous, and we just left that the same. They get $1,000 budget, supplies $1,000. But I don't know what the difference between maintenance, service, and supplies are. See, to me, there should only be $1,000 there. Does anybody know the difference between that? See here, we have Tree City Maintenance Service, ground, is that,
Grounds, yes.
and then we have Tree City Supplies.
Are we paying anybody to maintain any of the?
Not to
No.
maintain, just for.
But the supplies we've been using, but the maintenance service, we've only used that 1 year, and that was this year for 284.
Mm-hmm,
So we
Is
could
that
probably for
treasurer?
sure drop that down, but
Mhm.
does Tree City do that, or do they just do what I tell them, or what
No,
we?
they'll live within that, but I think they want some trees during that, with that money, I think. You wanna check, I'll check.
Well,
with
we have $2,000, and I
Yeah.
thought that they had $1,000 budget, is what I thought they had. Which, I don't care, but here we have 1,000, I'll find out what that is.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Can you see what was posted against that eventually?
Which one?
On the Tree City Maintenance Service? I'll come in tomorrow and check it out, but it's the
That is
126, 517.
Sarah, what did you say for 572, the security monitoring for the train station?
$2,700, cause it's $224.95 per month. So we just kind of multiplied that by 12 and that's what we did, and that's really all we really changed on that page. And then the last page is infrastructure.
Oh, wait a second. What about train station cleaning?
I was gonna find out what her bill is, I don't know what her bill is, what she charges us for that.
So are we gonna put a line item,
Yeah,
a
that'd be
GL number for
And
that?
then I'll just multiply it, is it in here?
No,
I
it's
don't
on-
see
no,
a
we
GL.
had it.
Well, we could put that for miscellaneous expense. I don't know where she wants to put that.
Is Claudia still doing the GL numbers for us?
Yes. Clean the train station. Okay. Oh, I wanna know, that intake structure was taken out of, like one intake? Was taken out of infrastructure, is that what it was taken out of? Yes.
For the divers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So the last page. We really didn't do too much of it. It's all, the street improvements, oh, these are all
These are all,
the wish list. Yeah, so those all stayed the same.
they're capital.
Yes, we didn't change any of those. And then the last page is insurance. When do we pay our premiums? In May?
Well, they're in well, what insurance, property and all of that?
Insurance liability
We
premiums.
pay that in, it's due in December. Maybe January.
Okay, so would I have it on here?
Right, in December.
Yeah, that's when
We redid all that.
Do you know how much that was?
Oh.
Well, cause see, we're up to 625 and it's 167,000 budgeted, so I don't know how much, I'll find out what that is and what, that is,
Check, I wouldn't say.
we pay it one time a year? Okay, I guess with that line, I'm talking about 12,005.92. It only shows we paid 625, well, they they just paid a big premium, so I can't, and I gotta find out what that is. And then we'll plug that number in, cause that won't change, will it? No.
As soon as public safety gets their stuff in, cause they'll meet, assuming on Wednesday, I don't know if they're gonna be 100% ready or not. Can we get Claudia to run us a balance sheet of the budget so we show, so we can see the
Yes.
overage or shortage?
Yes. My plan to do it, well, and then that takes care of this for tonight. And my plan is to send these figures, I'm gonna do a clean sheet for Claudia. They give it to her on her email and then have her respond back on if she thinks we're way out of line on things. If we are, I'll probably just call people. But I'm not taking it to council on Monday, so we have a whole nother month, don't we? So we're still good. So we're really good. Okay, does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, done with that for tonight. That's all the old business. Under new business, we have Fleming and Toffel audit. And in your packet, it just talks about, it's the letter we get every year. And we have to say whether we want them to do it or not. And the bottom line is on page 8, and I say page 8 at the bottom. The fee for the services, expenses will not exceed $22,000, plus an additional $3,500 to $5,000 for a single audit. And I think the single audit is when we have grant money that's over a certain amount, then they have to do a single audit. So it depends how much grant money we use in a year on whether they show, put the 3,500 or 5,000 more. But I need an okay on this to take this to council on Monday to have them sign it and let them do our audit.
Did we entertain any other proposals, or did we just take
No.
the one? Okay. Do we have time to get another proposal or not?
I don't know. Who would we get it?
Yeah.
Probably another firm, just to bump it up,
In Carlinville,
preferably.
there's not another one in Carlinville
There
that
is
will
not.
do an audit.
Okay.
And I think that's why we've always used them.
Correct.
And we for sure don't wanna go out of town.
Well, but at some point, it's recommended that you do switch up your auditors at least every however many years, 7 to 10 years, so.
I don't know how many years we've used these guys.
Several.
Who did we use before?
So it's been there as long as I've been on council.
We've been 5,
Mhm.
we're our 5th year.
I don't
So
remember
they
who the other
recommend
one
you
was.
take it out of town?
Well, they recommend that you change your auditors every.
I don't think it would hurt getting a proposal, even if it is out of town, just to see, make sure we're in line. That's the only reason that I suggested. You don't have to accept it, but I mean, just to see where we're at. And I've got nothing against Fleming and Toffel, obviously, but,
Well, someone needs to give me some names of who you would wanna send proposals to. If there's nobody else in town, you're just gonna be picking them.
I'll go on the internet.
I mean, I don't really know, I'm assuming they have to be CPAs and all that. Well, when do they have to have this by?
May 1st.
He said May. It would start
we've
in
got
May.
some time.
Yeah.
Do you publish it, put it out for bid or whatever?
I don't know.
I
They have
think
to
you
be
would
able to
send a
do a
request.
municipal
You'd have to
audit.
probably,
You have to know for sure that they do
A
municipality,
municipal audit, right.
but,
If someone would like to take that on, they're welcome. If they wanna find a new CPA place, that would be good.
Claudia may have some ideas on, obviously she's CPA, on
So you don't want me to take this to council on Monday? We don't
You
have
can
to,
if you
on
want. I
whatever
mean-
you guys wanna do.
I'm not dead set against it either way, I just always like to have another proposal to compare something to. That's okay, I'm okay with it.
I'm with Joe, Sarah, I think we need to just put it out there and see if anybody bites to send us a bid.
So then somebody needs to figure out who we're putting it out to.
Why
Could we
don't
call
you
a
check-
few of the cities tomorrow and see what firms they use to get other names or recommendations?
I was thinking that also.
What's that?
I was thinking that also call some other towns around here that are ours.
Let me do that tomorrow, I'll call a couple other cities and see what they.
You want to?
Yeah.
Oh, I would appreciate that so much. So we'll just hold on to this. And now, if we get a new one, do we say, what would you charge for an audit, or do we have to send them like a whole proposal thing?
Well, they'd have to know they'd probably look at last year's audit to see the things that, that are going over and, But I mean, just by saying a municipal audit, they know everything.
Okay.
Probably have to go to Stateville, Smithville or St. Louis.
That'd be good, all right.
Edwardsville.
Will you get back with me, and if there are some, then I'll figure out how to get it, so we won't bring this on Monday.
And Sarah wanted you to talk with, Claudia too, she may have somebody else in mind also.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have on the, agenda. Does anybody else have anything they wanna talk about?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned by Doug Brown, seconded by Mike Rockmar, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
If you have, suggestions, or if you think about something about the budget, just give me a call, and or if you have a question, come up, and I'll be glad to answer it for you, whatever. And I'll send a clean sheet to Claudia and say, what do you think about this, okay?